How's it going, Blamers? Welcome to Blame It on Mel. So here's the deal. We all know the boobs have been ruling the world since the beginning of time. They either come in the form of a push-up bra from Victoria's Secret or in the plastic surgeon's office. What happens when your implants betray you harder than your best friend sleeping with your husband, though? Meet Tawny. Her implants gave her the middle finger and waved two white flags that nobody but her could see, not even the doctors. Today, Tawny is sharing her breast implant illness journey. Thanks for being here, Tawny.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So breast implant illness is not something that I've even ever heard about until you came out and started talking about it.
A lot of people haven't heard about it. I didn't either until I went around and around with doctors trying to figure out what was wrong with me. And it was something that a friend mentioned, and I started doing research. But before that, I had never heard about it at all.
Yeah, I've never heard about it. So let's rewind. Let's go back to having babies, having your boobs really get destroyed when you're nursing, right?
They do. And it's, nursing is a blessing. I'm glad I was able to do it, but it takes its toll on your body. Absolutely.
Yeah. I remember mine. Mine looked like shriveled up little raisins after I was done, but I always had big boobs. I was always small, but I was really gifted with big boobs. And then I nursed my two babies and they shriveled up. I lost all of that breast tissue because, right, your breast tissue is replaced with milk. And then you're left with these shriveled up little raisins after you're done nursing.
Yep, that's absolutely where I was. I had nothing but just, some skin left over.
That's kind of what mine looked like. It just looked like hanging skin.
Yep.
Yeah. So were you self-conscious? Like you were done having kids, right?
Yep, we're done having kids. I was very self-conscious. To me, it was hard to lose that feminine feeling. It was part of my body that I just didn't love anymore. I feel like I just lost that. And it was just important to me to get that back.
Did it affect you sexually at all?
Yes, in the fact that I was very self-conscious and I tried to hide a lot from my husband.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember feeling that way too. But you know that if you asked your husband, he will say every time, like, he doesn't care. Like
100%. He said that repeatedly. That,
right.
I love you for how, no matter what you look like. And
100%.
We are our own worst critic.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I remember even like not even wanting him to touch my breast because I was just like, I don't feel sexy. I don't feel beautiful. Like, how could you desire this?
Exactly.
Did you have those same feelings?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm not alone in this.
Not
and
at all.
I'm sure that is how a lot of moms feel after they have given birth and breastfed and have those, because it changes your body. And then it just kind of takes the toll on you and your self-esteem, really.
Yep. Self-esteem is 100% why I made the decision to get implants.
So you didn't do it because you felt any sort of pressure from society. It wasn't from your husband.
No, not at all. It was because I wanted my ideal body type. I wanted to look how I thought was sexy and get my confidence back. So
right. Honestly, and this was me, is that I wanted to get back to what I looked like before I had kids. It wasn't about changing how I was born, right? Like I just wanted to get back to what I had before I had sacrificed my body, sacrificed my boobs to have kids.
Yep. Exactly.
Same type of thing. Like you don't want to look different. You're not trying to look like a different Tawny. You just wanted to look like you did before.
Yep, exactly.
Were you told about any of the risks of BII?
No, I was not. It was over 10 years ago, so I don't know if that was even something that was known about back then, even like less than it is known about now. I feel like
you had them in for 10 years before you started having any sort of symptoms.
Yep.
I did not know that.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, I never had any problems with them until about a year ago.
I have had 2 different doctors do my implants because I've had 2 sets because I had mine after my first 2 kids. And then I had 3 more kids, but they expire, right? And so I was very worried about anything going wrong, right? So I got them redone. And both surgeons, neither one of them have ever even given any sort of risk factor.
So what I was always told was there was a 10-year expiration date on them.
Right.
But
I had mine in for 15 years. So I was like, I feel like I've overextended the expiration date.
Yeah. And my surgeon even told me, though, when we were planning on getting them, I asked about the 10-year thing.
Yeah.
And he said that if there's nothing wrong, don't fix it. So basically, the 10-year thing, he said no one really goes by that. Unless you have like a leak or something, then he was like, a lot of people leave them in for 20, 30 years and never have problems with them. So
interesting.
Yeah, I was just, okay, these are going to be, a longer term thing than I originally thought. So
yeah, no, my first surgeon, he never said anything. He never said that they would only last a certain amount. I really don't feel like I had that much information, to be honest, when I first got my boobs done. I just had read that later, is that it was like a 10-year expiration date, and I had mine I think it was actually 16 years because I had them right after I had my daughter, and she was 16 when I went and had them replaced. And I also wanted smaller ones because I had gotten the implant size because the same size that I had before I was pregnant. But then when you have more babies, they just kept getting almost bigger. Like it just, you gain weight, they get bigger. And then I wanted smaller ones.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But nobody ever said anything about any sort of risk or expiration date. That was just something that I had read online.
Yeah, it was something that I was told by a friend that had implants too, is the 10-year thing. But it's funny now because surgeons are actually required to give you, it's a black label warning before they do implants that explains to you the risks of breast implant illness. Basically just stating that there are mystery symptoms that happen to a lot of women that resolve after you get them out. And when I got them in, that wasn't anything that was ever discussed. But now there's been enough reported instances of this to where surgeons, the FDA requires surgeons to actually give you that black label warning before they can put implants in your body.
Is that a new thing, or when did that start?
It is a newer thing. I'm not sure exactly when it started, but it wasn't something 10 years ago.
But at the same time, we all have gone to surgeries. We see all of these paperwork. Nobody reads through the whole thing, right?
Yeah, correct.
I mean, I don't. I cannot tell you how many times I go, even a car loan. I go in, I don't read.
Yeah.
I don't read all of it. I go to buy a house. I don't read everything that's in there. Do you feel like it's the plastic surgeon's responsibility to provide that sort of awareness to his patients?
I mean, I do, just as a, hey, this could happen. I don't think they should push it in a way to where it would, seem like they're trying to discourage anyone from getting implants, but in a way that they could just tell you that this may happen. This could happen.
Well, or also just to let you know what the symptoms are to look for just in case.
Yes.
I mean, I remember putting my son on ADHD medication and the doctor saying, hey, look for these things.
Yeah, what to watch for.
What to watch for. I can't imagine having such a big surgery and not having explained to you, hey, watch out for these things.
When I got them, the biggest risk that I was aware of was a rupture or something, for them to maybe start leaking. And that was worst case scenario to me.
Do you remember what those were? Like what what it was that you were supposed to look for to know that there's a rupture?
No, I guess misshapen,
Yeah.
you would notice that, something was not shaped right, but
Yeah.
that's about it. I mean,
Yeah. Or your husband's supposed to notice it first.
right? Yeah, I know. Something doesn't feel right.
So basically your body is throwing you warning signs like that drunken friend at brunch, right?
Yep. Exactly.
So when did you first think like something's off, something isn't right? Because 10 years, everything's great, right? You
Yeah.
got boobs, you're feeling good about yourself.
So it was about June last year, I started getting, it started out as just like some dizziness and some weird heart palpitations. And they just kind of kept progressing, getting a little worse and more frequent. And I just knew, something just wasn't right.
Yeah.
Never in a million years did I think it was related to my implants. So I went to the doctor and they put on a heart monitor for like 3 days. And
They thought it was something with your heart.
yeah, just because of the palpitations, my doctor heard what she thought was maybe like a murmur. So they just wanted to check it out. So I wore that for 3 days and it came back normal.
No problems
No
whatsoever.
problems. What you're feeling
Had
is
you
just,
experienced those, that it was heart racing kind of?
yeah.
Did you experience that over the 3 days that you wore the monitor? You did.
I did. Yep. And there was like a little button you were supposed to push every time you felt a
Okay.
symptom. So they would know to track that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But it didn't show up.
Nothing showed up, anything cardiac related that could have been an issue. It was just clear. I was fine. So I just kept tracking on.
Wow. How scary was it the first time you passed out? Because you said you passed out.
I did. So after, the heart palpitations and stuff, it just kept getting worse. And
So you were just feeling dizzy. Were you thinking it was just exhaustion, that you were overdoing it as far as work or what?
yeah, I mean, work,
Being a mom?
Yeah, being a mom, I had my gallbladder I had to have taken out a few months before that. So I
Okay.
had just gone through a surgery. And
So you thought maybe it could have to do with that?
yeah, just recovery from that. I was exhausted.
Yeah.
There was a lot going on. And then, yeah, after, a few months of that, it just got worse. And then I ended up completely just blacking out at home. Just
Were you alone?
the first time I passed out, I was alone.
You were alone. Did somebody find you or did you wake up on your own?
I woke up on my own. Anytime I did pass out like that, I wasn't ever out for very long.
Yeah.
It was almost as soon as I was on the floor, I would kind of start to come back. And
Or so really, there's no way that you could know how long that is, right?
Yeah. It was terrifying though. It was,
I have no doubt. Yeah.
I've never passed out in my life. So to have it just happen like that, I was like, okay, this is what stress is doing to your body, I guess, because that's what my doctor told me was happening. So
But it was just stress. Mm-hmm. So were you experiencing any sort of different stress at the time?
yes, when my symptoms started to get worse, it was around the time my mom went through multiple surgeries that were really scary. My dad ended up suddenly passing away, and that was a huge hit. It was a lot to go through. And so when my, doctor told me it was stress, it was anxiety, it was a, trauma response, I fully believed that because I had been through hell. And it's like, okay, well, let's do whatever we've got to do to deal with the stress, I guess. So.
Okay. So, well, how did you handle stress? Did you go to therapy or how did you try to remedy that?
So the biggest thing was, I wanted a quick fix. I needed to be able to work. I needed to be able to function. And so my doctor just recommended, basically just Xanax. Let's get it under control. Just, medication will help. And I thought it would, let's try it. It did not. It did not help at all.
It didn't.
If anything, it just made me feel like I was under the influence and still having the same symptoms. So
did you have to take Xanax? You don't take that regularly, right? You take that when you can feel something coming on?
yeah. So when I would have, when I'd start getting really dizzy or anything, let's take a pill and hopefully it'll help. And it definitely did not.
It did not.
No. No.
What scared you the most as far as like your symptoms? Was it the chest pain, the heart palpitations, the passing out? Like out of all the symptoms, what was the most scary to deal with?
I think the most scary was like the chest pains, because it would get to the point where I almost couldn't breathe. At first, the passing out was scary, but we learned how to manage that and avoid it. It was just one of those things I worked into everyday life, how to avoid this.
How? Yeah, how did you avoid it?
A lot of sitting down. If I had really bad days where, I knew that I felt terrible, I would make sure that if I had to get up and go to the bathroom, I would stop and sit on the floor for a few minutes, because I knew that I needed to just kind of reset. And then when it would pass, I could get up and go to the bathroom. And I was really, heat intolerance was a big deal. So I couldn't shower without passing out. So we got a shower chair. We just found out how to
like the
work
elderly.
it into. Yeah, it was.
How did that make you feel?
Terrible. It was, I can't think of the word, but very, I don't know, demeaning. It just made you just feel demeaning. Like you are, like you're elderly and you can't even stand up alone, like
to take a shower.
But it was part of life now. It was just something that I had to do.
Was it the same thing if you were out in the heat? So the summer made it worse?
Yeah. I just on a warm days, I wouldn't go outside. I didn't do a lot anyways, because it got to the point where I never knew if I was going to be having a bad day. So I just didn't schedule things with friends or
your children.
Go anywhere.
Obviously children want to be outside doing things.
Yeah. We just didn't do things unless I happened to have a day where I was feeling okay. Then we could do something, but it would be very modified.
When you also mentioned that you had numbness down your left side. So did part of you think that you were having a heart attack?
Yeah, one of the first times I went to the emergency room was when that numbness started.
Okay.
And I thought, I'm having a heart attack or I'm having a stroke. And it was, my whole left side just went numb and just quit working.
Had you had the COVID vaccine or anything ever?
No.
So that couldn't have been, because sometimes people are having the heart palpitations from the vaccine. So you knew that wasn't.
Nope. And that was one of the first questions they asked me in the emergency room too.
Really? Was if you had the vaccine.
Yep.
Interesting. Yeah. I can't imagine how like your entire, like it wasn't just your arm, it was your entire left side.
My whole left side. And then, after a day or two, it kind of eased off, but then for months.
Oh, it would last for a day.
Yeah.
The numbness. So could you walk or?
Yeah, I could walk.
But could you feel when you stepped with your left?
It was just really almost like your foot fell asleep where you can't quite feel it, but you can.
That's awful. I've done that though, when actually fallen down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was terrible to try to manage. And
I can't imagine.
After a few days, it would fade off enough to where it would just be left with like that tingly feeling. And that was just weird to deal with. I couldn't do a lot with my left hand, and I'm left-handed. So it was
really?
Yeah. So it was,
that's a problem.
It was a struggle.
Yeah. And you are a dog groomer.
Yeah.
So are you using shears and scissors and all of those things, right?
So that was a big determination on me having to close my business, because I tried to just work on the days when I could somewhat function, and it just got to the point where I almost couldn't do anything. And so I kept rescheduling my clients, and finally I just had to close down because I couldn't hold a pair of clippers. The vibration would just be the most uncomfortable thing because of that tingly, numb feeling in my hand. So I just shut down.
So I met you because we are in the same book club.
Yes.
Yes. So when I had met you, the first book club that I went to was at your house.
Yeah.
Were you having any sort of those symptoms then?
It hadn't quite gotten that bad then. My left side hadn't gone numb yet. It was at that point when you came over, I was having the dizziness. I had already passed out a few times, and the heart palpitations. But that was shortly after my dad passed. So I thought that it was just the stress. And
I remember because your brother was there and he was having a really hard time too.
Yeah.
You were, I still can't believe that you had hosted this book club, and it was an amazing book club.
I think I was in a little bit of shock and just numbing my way through things.
Right. That makes sense. And just trying to stay busy to kind of keep your mind off of it.
Yeah. Yep.
Because you guys were going through a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
Yeah, it was. Let's talk about our book club a little bit. It's a little abnormal, right? So we don't all read the same book.
We don't. We talk about books and throw authors around and, what are you reading right now? But
so basically you can read whatever you want. We meet quarterly.
Yes.
Right? You can read whatever you want. And then you show up and you bring a basket, and the basket is whatever book that you had read over that quarter. You can use whatever it is. And you put in this basket things that are either related to that book that you're reading, or even just something that you would want to have for reading, right?
Yeah. Bottle of wine, soft blanket, cool
Book
bookmark.
lights.
Yeah. Just bookish things. So
Yeah.
it's been a pretty amazing group of women that we've just kind of all been thrown together. And
Right? Because none of us were really friends. Like, there's a couple friends here and there that I had, but for the most part, like, that was the first time I'd met you. Everybody was from different kind of backgrounds and really didn't have a lot of connections with each other.
yeah, not a lot. We're definitely, it's been just, I don't know, such a wonderful, heartwarming thing to see so many different people come together, and we just get excited about these random book things. But also, we've got book club night where we talk about books for a minute, and then we're just,
Having a good time.
We're talking about life, and we're just enjoying each other's company and laughing. And
And I had mentioned to you where I was like, it's the only place that I feel safe leaving that room and knowing that nobody's talking about me.
Yeah.
And that is very rare to find.
It is.
Very rare.
It's sad, but that it is that rare.
It's the truth.
But it is the truth. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we exchange our baskets, right? Kind of like that white elephant white elephant gift exchange most people do during Christmas.
Yep.
And that gets a little wild.
It does. Everyone's fighting. There's that that basket everyone's got their eye on. And
Yep. Or no, that's been stolen twice. No, that one's locked. It is always exciting.
It is. A little bit of chaos in the most fun way.
It is a little bit of chaos. Last time there was like a dildo. I think I actually still have the circle on my window from that dildo getting stuck there.
I think there were some compromising photos of a few of us from that night. Yes.
Yes,
somebody
so
makes
good.
a dirty basket every time,
But also like that makes it interesting and fun.
It's hilarious.
Yes, absolutely. So did any doctors ever suggest to you that, hey, maybe these symptoms could be from your breast implants?
No, they did not, until I had a few follow-ups after I had gotten my explant surgery and had to go back and see the specialist that I had seen before the plastic surgeon. And, just as a follow-up, see how you're doing. And
what
then,
kind of a specialist was it?
So like a neurologist.
Okay.
I didn't go back and see the cardiologist after, but The rheumatologist also.
What is a rheumatologist?
Someone that looks into like autoimmune diseases.
Okay.
They
thought you had an autoimmune disease.
They thought maybe lupus. The emergency room doctor, as well as the neurologist, thought maybe I had MS. The cardiologist, of course, was looking into heart issues. ENT doctor thought maybe it was an inner ear thing. It's just,
you saw every single specialist, it sounds like.
I did. And none of them even mentioned that this is what it could be. And I feel like a lot of that was just because they were concentrating on, finding something in their scope of practice. And I don't even know that most of them had ever even heard of breast implant illness. A lot of nurses had that told me after the fact.
Really?
Yeah. When I went back, they said, oh, yeah, like I have heard of a few people around here that have had this. And
well, thank you. I could have used that information like a year ago.
Yeah. Wish somebody would have said that, in the past, but it wasn't actually a doctor that ended up mentioning to me that this was a possibility. It was just a friend that knew a friend that had something similar happen to her.
So it wasn't even your personal friend?
No.
That had said that?
Nope. Just somebody that knew somebody.
So you're basically going to all of these ER visits and you are collecting these hospital bracelets like they are Coachella bracelets.
Yep.
Yeah.
Send a picture to my husband every time. Oh, I've got another one, honey.
Adding to my jewelry collection. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I read that in your social media post. I thought that was so funny that you were collecting these bracelets to add to your jewelry collection.
Yeah. Well, there were so many. I'd go to the emergency room and then, they'd just tell me, go see my primary. And then she would refer me to a specialist. And then specialist can't get you in for 6 months. And in the meantime, you end up back in the emergency room again.
How many ER visits do you think that you had? Even if you just had to guess.
The emergency room, I think I probably went 5 or 6 times to the emergency room.
And then specialists?
I can't even count. It was 4 different specialists, but I can't even count the amount of
And each and every
tests.
time you went to all of these specialists, the ER visits, doctors basically told you that everything was fine.
Yeah.
They can't find anything that's wrong with you.
Nothing physically wrong with you. It's got to just be anxiety.
Were you ever scared that doctors would stop believing you?
I was, because most of the time, as soon as they found nothing wrong with initial tests, they'd brush you off. And so it was almost like I feel like they quit trying to find what was wrong. And because it wasn't something that was just so blatantly out in the open. You're not having a heart attack, so go home.
All of them come back to anxiety, that they just said it's stress and anxiety. That's what is bringing this on?
There was a few other things that they said it could be that, don't have definitive tests for. Fibromyalgia.
Fibromyalgia?
Yeah. POTS was another big thing. So they did that tilt table test to confirm that. And it was another test that just came back inconclusive. So it could have been a diagnosis, but it also could have not been a diagnosis of POTS. There's just so many things that were bounced around.
So you said, and I want to quote you, that you said that your days were filled with lethargy, muscle soreness, weakness, weight loss, and relentless headaches.
Yeah.
What was that like?
And it was terrible. It felt, that was every day. And it was almost like when the day you start to feel better after a flu, when you know that you're over it, but you just feel like you got hit by a truck. And it just made it hard to do everyday things. So,
including working.
Oh,
how was it to be a mom?
Oh, that was hard. My kids were so understanding and so caring, and they were trying to just be helpful. And I just felt terrible every day that I couldn't be at, different events. And there was days that I, couldn't take them
Events
to,
for your kids?
like karate or stuff like that. And I just felt like I was failing them, just not being able to be a mom like I have been. And that was hard. There was a lot of guilt with that, even though
You couldn't come to the book club either. And we missed you.
yeah, I couldn't do so many things, and I just felt bad about it. But I knew that it wasn't my fault. I was sick, but I also had no answers as to why I was sick. So it was just exhausting mentally.
Because they're basically telling you that it's anxiety.
Yeah, because you're fine. There's nothing physically wrong with you.
But did you believe that?
No,
You knew.
I knew there was something wrong.
Because you know your body.
I do. And I've had anxiety issues before. And I know how that
haven't
feels.
we all?
Yeah. I know how that feels. And this is not that. Like, my body was disintegrating. I lost so much weight. And it's, I was just wasting away. And that wasn't anxiety.
No.
There was more to it than that.
You didn't look good.
No,
your
I did
color
not.
was drained out of your face. You just not to be rude.
No,
but you didn't. You could
Yeah.
tell when you don't feel good, you don't look good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I heard that a lot. I looked like a zombie. I looked ashen. I was just not healthy.
How was your relationship with your husband?
Oh, that man is a saint. I'll tell
He
you that.
is.
It was hard. But he was so supportive, and just we'll do whatever we've got to figure out what's going on and to get you through it. And we've always said that we've got a partnership, and when somebody needs something, the other one steps up, and he did that for a very long time, and I'm very grateful for that. But I felt bad for him too. It was hard to see what he went through also, because he went through hell.
Yeah.
He couldn't fix it.
Yeah.
And he's Mr. Fix It. He fixes everything.
Yeah.
So it was exhausting for both of us.
I get that. I remember even seeing you guys up at the lake this summer.
Yeah.
And he's like, I just took time off work. Like we haven't been able to do any of these things with a family. And,
Yeah. We celebrated at the end of the summer. We were able to go do things.
Yeah,
and
make up for lost time. That's
Yeah.
what he said. He's like, we couldn't leave the house. We couldn't do anything. And now you know, like he just looked like a little kid. When I saw him on a kayak out there, and some of your kids were on floaties, and he was just so happy just to be able to be out of the house and to have you back.
Yeah. It was life-changing.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't imagine. So is there a test that can you test for breast implant illness?
You can't. You just have to get your explant surgery done and then see if your symptoms go away.
So it's still a guess. So were you basically still guessing when you went and had your explant surgery?
Yeah.
And hoping, like rolling the dice in a way.
Even the day of my surgery, I still was not convinced that that's what was happening to me. I thought maybe the doctors missed something because there is no test. You don't know until you get them out and see if your symptoms go away. And they had said too that it could take up to like a year for my symptoms to go away.
Oh, really?
So I was terrified that
afterwards.
I was terrified that they were going to, I was going to go through this surgery and then it still, either not work or take a year for me to get back to where I was.
Did it take a year?
It didn't. It took a couple weeks, actually.
Wow. And you were just automatically feeling better.
It was, I just kind of started noticing little changes where, this wouldn't affect me as much. And, I could get up and do this. And I already had more energy, which was crazy to me because I was recovering from a pretty major surgery.
Yeah. Well, and also it was expensive.
Extremely expensive.
How much did it cost?
It cost over $17,000 for my surgery.
Yeah. And how much do you think that you paid to get them put in?
$8,000.
8,000. Yeah. That was back a long time ago. They have really gone up.
Have they?
Yes. Yes, I think when I first, well, I got mine done in Utah. So Utah is really, they have the best prices because they are one of the highest plastic surgery rates per capita, like
Oh, okay.
behind Miami. And so they are less expensive down there. But I think the first time that I got mine done, they were maybe like $3,500.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
But then the second time I went and got them done, they were like 15 grand.
Wow.
That was only like a couple years ago, but yeah, no, they're definitely going up in price.
Yeah, it's not a cheap thing to have done for sure.
No. So 17,000, you finally figured out what it is. Doctors aren't telling you this is what it is, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So you don't really have a diagnosis saying this is what's making this patient ill and this patient needs to have them out. So insurance isn't going to cover that.
No, it's considered cosmetic to get them out. Even if you're having all these symptoms, because there's no definitive test for it, it is still considered a cosmetic surgery.
And you have no idea. So you're having to pay $17,000 and you still don't even know if that is going to solve your symptoms.
Yeah, it was a risk, but we were desperate. I mean, if that was the solution, we were going to try it.
Yeah. So you had mentioned that it was a friend of a friend that had breast implant illness.
Yep.
How did that conversation even get started with your friend? Did she bring it up? Did you ask her?
I honestly don't even remember. I've had so many conversations with so many people about it. I just remember after it being brought up, I became a Google MD at that point, and so I just looked up breast implant illness. And
you stopped you stopped Googling all of your symptoms and you started Googling cases, like things that could potentially be.
Yeah. And the day that she told me about her friend, I immediately looked it up online. And I got a hold of a surgeon in Spokane that actually she specializes in breast implant illness.
Okay.
So
how did you find that? Did you Google that, a surgeon, and that doctor came up?
Mm-hmm. And it's, a lot of surgeons don't believe in breast implant illness. A lot of them don't want to believe in it because it affects their bottom line. If people aren't getting as many implants, they're not getting as many surgeries. But,
and you didn't even have any sort of symptoms or problems for 10 years.
No, I did not.
Yeah.
That's a big reason that I didn't think that was an issue.
Because you'd had them in there for so long. And it wasn't because of any sort of leakage.
No, I didn't have any issues with my breasts at all. And I even went and had an ultrasound done just to see if there was maybe a leakage because I had silicone, not saline. So silicone can cause a lot of issues if it is leaking.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
But you just, there was no issues.
I mean, it sounds like you were diligent. You tried everything as far as trying to figure out what was going on. I mean, because you can't live your life like this where you can't even take a shower and you can't be a mom to your kids and you can't be a wife to your husband.
Yeah, we tried literally everything.
When you heard that story about the friend of the friend, what made you think, okay, that could be maybe what this is?
Just the fact that nothing else fit. And there was
Did she have a lot of the same symptoms that you had?
Yeah.
She did.
She did. The biggest thing was the passing out.
Okay.
And because of, her heart rate would do the same thing that mine did. I started tracking my heart rate on my watch and comparing it to when I would pass out, and my heart rate would just skyrocket. And that was something that she had mentioned too, is that a lot of the reason she was passing out is because her heart rate would skyrocket. And I was like, well, I've never heard of that. And so that was a big symptom to me. It affects people so many different ways, but that was one thing that we just had in common that was such a, huge thing. So I thought maybe this could be something.
Yeah. I'm going to follow that rabbit hole and see where that leads, kind of a thing, right?
Yep.
So did you have any sort of problems with your insurance company being able to pay for a lot of your tests?
It was really hit or miss on what they would cover.
Okay.
It was
Like your ultrasound, for instance, is that?
They wouldn't cover the ultrasound.
Okay, because you did that on your own. It wasn't ordered.
Yeah, it wasn't considered preventative. They wanted me to get a mammogram, which I was worried about a rupture. And
can that happen during a mammogram?
Yeah.
It can. Okay.
So if there was a rupture, it was something that, I was scared of happening. So my primary doctor said that a ultrasound would be safer. But then you don't find out until afterwards that your insurance doesn't cover it.
So how much do you think that you had to pay that insurance didn't cover?
Tens of thousands of dollars.
So that was
all of this testing.
Aside from the $17,000.
Yeah. This is multiple, trips to the hospital, the different specialists, all of the CT scans, MRIs, just blood work. Every visit I had was hundreds or thousands of dollars.
And at what point did you have to shut down your business?
After it had been happening for, I don't know, it was probably about 3 or 4 months.
3 or 4 months.
Trying to just work through it until my symptoms got so bad that I couldn't work.
Yeah. So you're basically having to shut down your business. You're not having an income. And then you're having to use your savings to pay for all of these things that the insurance isn't covering.
Yep. Just stacking medical bills on top of just getting behind on everyday bills and trying to make it work.
And still not getting any answers.
Yeah. Getting nowhere.
I don't even know how anxiety had anything to do with it. You had to have had depression at some point.
It took its toll.
I don't even know how you were able to continue to go on and not, just like thinking about even just the financial aspect of that and trying to figure out what was going on with you and still not getting any answers, and then spending your savings and not having anything come in from your business.
It was hard.
I can't, saying that's hard is really like an understatement.
It is, but we had help for sure.
Yeah.
We've got family, we have friends, and when we ended up kind of starting to let people know that I was having health issues and this is how much it was affecting me, then people rallied, especially my book club.
Your book club. I know. I remember because we all of a sudden created this new group text because we have a group thread.
Yeah.
And now we have this new group thread that didn't have you in it.
Yeah, my book club group chat went silent.
It did go silent for a while.
It did. Nobody was in there anymore.
Yeah. But. And Stephanie really spearheaded that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I found out about this fundraiser for this
family.
You
did find out. I remember you.
It was when it was
something
anonymous.
Different. Okay.
Yeah, it was a fundraiser for a family that needed help, and they wished to remain anonymous.
Oh my gosh! And this was you.
And
so you found out about your own fund. I didn't know this.
So I'm reading this and I'm sharing this fundraiser, and I didn't know it was for me.
So back up. So we have this fundraiser that we're putting together through a separate group chat that didn't have you in it. And we're putting together this fundraiser to help you raise money for your explant surgery, the $17,000.
Yeah.
And so we are putting it out there. Stephanie is spearheading it. Shauna helped a ton as far as getting it together with the words, and we got graphics. We're putting it out there on Facebook, and you're seeing this.
I was, but it was all listed.
And you had no idea it was you.
No, I didn't. Good. It was an anonymous family. And
because everybody said you would not take the help.
Yeah, no.
You did not want to feel like you were a victim or any of those things. I remember being like, we're keeping this a secret because she's not going to want the help.
Yeah. I'm a very proud person, and That's
okay.
And it's hard for me to do that.
Do you think that everyone's like that though?
Yes. I feel like a lot of people
everybody is that, but you would want to help somebody.
Absolutely. Everyone needs help at some point.
So you're reading this, you're seeing it on Facebook, I'm guessing, right? Yep. Okay. So what's your thoughts there?
I'm thinking, let's rally. Let's help these people.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
You're the one with all of these things going on with you.
Yeah.
You had to close your business. You are having to pay for these these medical bills, and you're thinking, I need to help this family.
Yeah. Even if it's, not
That's
monetary,
amazing.
let's help organize.
Yeah.
Let's, do whatever we can. And,
Yes.
And then after a little bit, I ended up, finding out that it was for me, and it was hard. And I had all of the emotions, I was so grateful for it, but it was hard. And then that night of the fundraiser too, I'm trying to figure out if I'm even going to be able to make it. Am I going to be having a good enough day to go? And I felt okay enough to get there. And I think I just cried the whole time. You guys were amazing. And it was just,
well, and you held the puppy. That
I
helped
did.
too.
I
There
did.
was a
I
puppy that Stephanie had gotten. So Stephanie, she trains and raises special needs service dogs.
Yeah.
Right.
The majority of them are diabetic alert dogs.
Right.
Yeah.
And so she ended up convincing the breeder that she uses to donate this dog to your fundraiser.
Yeah, they found out about it, and they just donated this puppy, and they're very expensive puppies. And so this puppy went, it was a silent auction, and there were so many donations from local businesses and just local friends, families, and then they did a live auction for this puppy. And
because it's not enough that you bring all these people together for this good cause, but we're also going to throw a puppy in here. And that's something that's going to definitely be a good fundraiser.
And it wasn't. It was so successful. I mean, the money raised helped us so much. And, I think being there that night, I think just being surrounded by people that were there to support us, like that was a huge boost too that we needed, because we've been, at home sick for so long and not and so just to know that I've got this whole community.
I remember you even saying how hard it was just to take a shower that day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your goal was to be able to just get there and sit on a stool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like you couldn't blow dry your hair, you said, right? Because because the heat already, you're taking cold showers because you can't have the heat. It's going to make you pass out.
Yeah.
And you were like, I couldn't even blow dry my hair.
Couldn't blow dry my hair. I mean, I think I wore jeans that day, but I was wearing just comfy clothes. I felt like crap all the time. And I remember walking into that fundraiser, and the first thing I was like, okay, I need a glass of water. And I stood up at the bar, and then I was just waiting to get a glass of water. And I was like, I had to sit down. I couldn't even stand up long enough to wait to get water. And that was just, it was a lot.
It was hard.
It was hard.
So how hard was it for you to even accept the help? Like, did you feel, you had mentioned that you felt shame.
I did, because.
Why? Why did you feel shame accepting help?
Because it wasn't, in the back of my mind, it wasn't something that happened to me so much as something that I feel like I did to myself. Because I felt a lot of guilt over, this is happening to me because of a choice that I made for something that wasn't necessary. I wanted these implants for, my looks. And to me, it was necessary because I wanted the
for your self-esteem.
Yeah. But looking back and seeing, how it ended up at that point, I was embarrassed about it. And I just felt like it was my fault. Like I did this to myself. And
I cannot imagine how heavy that was on you.
It was a lot.
Yeah. That's hard. And then how do you explain that to your teenage boys?
Yeah. We are the type of parents that we don't hide anything. We're open.
I think that is the best parenting. I really do.
It's just life is going to happen, and they're going to find out about it. And so,
did they know that you had your boobs done? Mm-hmm. They knew.
Yeah.
So then you tell them, and what was their reaction.
Yeah, they just, honestly, they've got a lot of their dad in them to where they're like, hey, let's do whatever we've got to do to get mom better, you know?
Yeah.
And there was some awkward conversations, of course, talking about boobs. It was a hot topic around our house, but you know, they just figured out it was a medical thing. It was something that was causing issues, and this is what we've got to do to fix it. And
Yeah.
they were there.
So $17,000 later, and you're having a recovery that makes childbirth seem like nothing.
Yeah.
Because the recovery was rough.
It was brutal. My implants were under my muscles, so they had actually like adhered to my rib cage.
Oh.
So I had my surgery in June, and it's almost October. My ribs still hurt. It was rough. Like, compared to getting my implants put in, it was absolutely terrible. And
I agree. When I had my second set put in, it was worse than my first. And probably the same thing is because they become part of your body. Like
Yeah.
they really do.
Yeah.
And same thing under the muscle. But I agree with you.
it's hard to go. I mean, going back in through, you know, scar tissue too, I'm sure is part of it. And it was definitely harder than I thought it was going to be.
So when you had your surgery, do they just take out the implants and that's all that they do? Or is there anything extra that they have to do in the surgery?
So when you have the implants, your body is automatically trying to, you know, fight off and seal off the fact that it's a foreign object in your body. So
when you had your original surgery.
Yep.
Okay.
Anyone that has implants, your body creates a natural capsule of almost like scar tissue around the implant. So when you go and have explant surgery, any surgeon that fully believes in breast implant illness will not only take the implant out, but they make sure they take that whole capsule out too. Because there's a lot of reports of women that have the capsules left in that still have that, all of those symptoms, because your body is still kind of fighting at those foreign objects and you're still having that response. So when you find a surgeon that is going to do it, you know, most of the time you make sure that they're going to take everything out, and they'll send you pictures of your capsules and of your implants, and it's a whole process. But
So that's why when you mentioned they kind of had to like scrape around to your rib cage, because that is probably where the capsule was. They had to scrape all of that out.
yep, that's that scar tissue that adheres to your chest wall.
So what happens if they don't take that capsule out?
So a lot of times you're left with, like I said, you still have the symptoms, but then you're also left with just this like pouch of scar tissue that's floating around in your chest that can cause it to just look abnormal or feel abnormal and be uncomfortable.
But that would also give people that false hope too. Like if they didn't take the capsule out and they were left with that and then they still had the symptoms, then like if that happened to you, you would then say, okay, well, I've done all of this and I still am having these symptoms. And you would never know to come back and get that capsule taken out.
There are women that are having to have a second surgery to remove, it's called residual capsules, because they weren't taken out initially. So a lot of the surgeons, that's why they send you pictures of those, is kind of to prove to you, hey, I got it all. Like, you're good.
But could you imagine if you had gone through that entire journey and then you're like, okay, now what? Now what do I do? So now you're having to figure out why you're still having these symptoms.
I can't imagine that. And that's a heartbreaking truth to it also, is that a lot of the women that this is happening to are women that have had like reconstruction after breast cancer. So they've gone through hell and then they just go through hell again. So that's another, you know, risk that they should be informed of when they've already gone through everything.
There's just so much information.
Yeah, so much.
So much information. What was the hardest part about the recovery? Was it the physical pain, or was it looking in the mirror and seeing that you didn't have your breasts anymore?
I would say the physical pain and the amount of help that I needed. That was really defeating, having my husband have to do everything for me.
Like what? What was he having to do?
Just like changing dressings. I had drains. He had to clean my drains out twice a day.
Yeah.
And it, helping me up because I couldn't use my chest muscles to even push up out of a chair.
Oh.
He had to push me up out of bed every day. And it was just a lot more recovery than I thought. A lot of it fell onto him. And so that was hard for me because seeing how much he already does and has already done for so long, it was just adding more to his plate that I felt guilty putting him through. But we got through it.
Yeah. Well, those are all things that you would have done for him.
Exactly.
But it's
partnership.
But it's just hard for you to accept that help because it seems as though you want to be the one to help everybody else. Same as when you saw that Facebook post and you're like, well, this family that I want to help, like I want to help them.
It's just very different to be on the other side of things. That's just not something I was used to.
I think that's pretty common though.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Why is it so hard to get over that obstacle to accept help from people?
I couldn't tell you.
I don't either because I'm the same way. I'm
Yeah.
the same way. Yeah.
And there's being on the other side of it, though. We always tell people it's okay to need help, and we're here, and we don't judge you no matter what it is. So I don't know why we have a hard time being on the other side of it.
So what was your biggest, like, holy shit, I'm back, finally? Like, do you remember that moment where you're like, finally?
Yes, I do. I remember that moment. And it was a few weeks after my surgery, and I was able to take a shower without that shower chair. And I stood up in the shower, and I didn't get dizzy, and I had no problems. And I remember I got out of the shower, and I told my husband to put that damn shower chair outside because I was done with it.
Put that in the dumpster.
Yep.
We do not need it. Burn it. Where is it? Do you have it?
Yeah, I think it's at the dump, honestly.
Yeah, it should be. Otherwise,
gone.
we're having a burning party.
Yeah. That was that I finally feel okay
Like,
moment.
fuck that chair.
Yeah.
Fuck
that chair.
Basically, yes.
100%.
Like, fuck that chair. I am not going to do that until I am 80, 90 years old. Like, get that out of my house.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it was satisfying.
So do you ever regret having your explant surgery at all? Like,
I don't.
no.
There is times where, physically I just seeing the changes in my body is hard because, I loved my implants. I loved having my boobs. But on the other side, I got my health back. So I don't regret getting them taken out at all.
So if you ended up getting breast implants again, would I happen again?
That's hard to tell.
Do you know anybody that's had them twice?
I don't know anybody that's had them
Because
twice.
this isn't really something that's talked about.
It's not. And it's not something that happens to everyone. And the surgeon said it was set off by stress. So,
And that's a guess.
that is a guess because there's
Everything
no
that
definitive
you
test.
went through was a guess.
Yeah. So who knows? There's people that this never happens to. So
Right.
I could get a second set and be fine for the rest of my life. I'm not going to take that risk, but you just never know. You know, there's nothing saying that it would happen to me again.
Right. Yeah. And it's not worth it.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So how do you deal with self-esteem, feeling, because you had said before that that's the reason why you had your boobs done is because you wanted to be able to feel beautiful again, desired, even though your husband desired you just the same. But how do you deal with that now as far as still feeling sexy? How do you deal with that?
I think a lot of it is the way that my husband makes me feel. I don't think I would be confident at all if it weren't for him. But a lot of it also is just my health too. I didn't feel sexy when I felt terrible all the time.
Yeah.
So I look different, but I'm healthy, and that's just worth it.
Yeah. And breast implants are not the villain here. It's the lack of information.
Absolutely. This doesn't happen to everyone.
It doesn't. Like I said, I'm on my second set and I've never had any sort of issues. I don't know anyone besides you that this has happened to.
Yeah. And it's the biggest thing is nobody really knows about it. And it's not something that will, affect every single person. It's really not that common, but it's something to where if you're stuck and if you are having these symptoms, like if you can hear someone's story, if someone can hear my story, and if it can just help one person, just know what to watch for.
Right.
Then that's why it should be talked about more.
100%. I agree. What would be your advice that you would give to somebody that is going to get implants?
Just do your research. I have heard that there is actually certain brands of implants that this happens less with versus others. They've been doing long-term studies on it, and apparently there are some that are safer than other ones. So that's something to look into.
So making sure that your surgeon is using that safer brand.
Yeah. I mean, or even just knowing just things to keep an eye on. I mean, but get the boobs.
Yeah. But as far as the symptoms, just to be able to look at it and know that just because you've had them in for 10 years doesn't mean that that can't be what it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And if you can't figure out what else it is.
Yeah. If your doctors are stuck and you've got fake boobs, just maybe keep this in the back of your head as something to possibly diagnose you with.
Yeah. Do you have any advice to people that maybe feel dismissed by their doctors or those that are trying to seek answers?
Speak up and just push. Because even if you can't push your doctor to find what's wrong with you, then find a doctor that will. I mean, because even though none of my doctors could diagnose me, there were some that tried a lot harder than others. So find the doctors that'll try for you also.
Yeah, just keep pushing.
Just, advocate for yourself and know that, you're not crazy. It's not always anxiety.
Do you hold any judgment against people that do get implants?
Absolutely not.
No.
Do whatever you want to do to make you feel, confident in your body.
Exactly.
It's your choice, 100%.
Yeah, because you're not saying breast implants are bad.
Not at all.
You are just trying to get the awareness out there so that people in your situation, because there's got to be more than, just you and that friend of a friend.
Oh, there is a ton of Facebook awareness groups on it. It does happen to quite a few people, but no, I don't judge at all. Yeah. Everyone should do whatever they want that makes them feel how they want to feel.
Yeah, I agree. So awareness is really the biggest key here, is just to be able to provide that to those that maybe are in your same situation later, so they don't have to spend an entire year going through the pain and the struggles and a lot of unhappiness, really.
Yeah. If I would have heard about this, so long ago, it would have saved me, money and time.
Thousands of dollars. Yeah.
And time that I can't get back.
Right. Mostly. And that's the biggest thing, is just time with your family, all of those things.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing your story, Tawny.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you being here.
Yeah,
and I hope that hopefully that helps. Even if it touches one person, like you said, that is really the main goal here.
Yep, that is the goal. Yeah. Hopefully somebody somewhere can be helped that's maybe going through the same thing I went through.
Yeah, and we got to talk about boobs.
We did. Boobs. Everybody likes boobs.
Everyone likes boobs. All right, Blamers, Truth Bombs delivered. Hit like, follow, and drop a comment with who or what you want to hear next. This is Blame It on Mel, and you're the ones calling all the shots.